And finally, we've got Yang Wang Chung, who is the principal researcher and first co-author. Here, he is demonstrating the size that his testicles swelled to. So stupid, dude. Hello, my busy buddies, and welcome to the show. This is Too Busy Didn't Know with me, Go Joe. This is the episode where I take all the news from the week from science and business, startups and technology, all the news that you want to know about but didn't hear about. I wrap it up into a little bow and present it to you. Here this week, we got about 10 stories to go over. There's self-driving cars and trucks. We're going to Venus. We've got bendable computer screens. We've got smart fabrics. There's all sorts of awesome stuff to get into. All that and more on this week's Too Busy Didn't Know. Let's get you caught up. Welcome again to Too Busy Didn't Know with me, Go Joe. I'm going to get all of my begging out of the way here at the top of the show. Please subscribe, like, comment on this video. It helps. And if you have access to it, clip a segment of this and create a short from it and save it or share it, please. This is a bit of a long form show. It's 20 minutes. I like to consider myself the Philip DeFranco of the technology sphere. He does news and drama. I'm doing tech, startups, and science. Help me out like Philip DeFranco, please. Help me grow this channel. Let's do this together, and let's jump right into the first story here, and that is driverless vehicles. But here we're looking at these trucks. You can see them. It says a better path forward. Last month, Too Simple, a transportation company focused on self-driving technology for heavy-duty trucks, shipped a truckload of watermelons from Arizona to Oklahoma using the truck's autonomous system for over 80% of the journey. The starting point was Nogales at Arizona's southern right end of the border with Mexico. A human driver took the wheel for the first 60 miles or so. Come on, Too Simple. It's too simple for a human to take over for the first 60 miles. Disappointing. However, the truck drove itself all the way to Dallas, 950 miles to the east. There was a human safety driver on board the whole time, but not actually controlling the truck after those first 60 miles. This is incredible. I hear mixed reviews on self-driving technology. Some people are saying it's coming, it's going to be here next year. Other people saying maybe hold off on it, and it's not going to be here as soon as we think it is. But the commercial application in the trucking industry of self-driving, I think, is very important. And another place you might actually see self-driving is in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm just mentioning Arizona for some reason. Arizona is very popular to both test and use this self-driving technology. My guess is because it's so spread out, and also it's laid out in a grid form. So if you're ever there, it's a grid. The streets run north, south, east, west in a grid form. So it's very easy to get around because you can just follow the grid. Waymo, this driverless taxi service, can now be accessed via Google in Arizona. I think this is massive news. Waymo has been testing their self-driving cars over in Phoenix, Arizona for months now, and you can finally access it. And I actually have a lot of friends in Phoenix. I used to live in Phoenix. So if you're a friend of mine in Phoenix watching this show, let me know how it goes, or better yet, get in the Waymo driverless car if you can and send me video. I would love to see it. I'm sure the viewers would also love to see it. The process still requires a bit of app hopping, and there isn't a direct way to access, book, and pay for the Waymo One rides in Google Maps. Instead, the user is brought over to the Waymo app to complete the booking. Users first have to input directions to or from a location in Waymo's Metro Phoenix territory, which includes parts of Chandler, Mesa, and Tempe. Shout out to ASU. From an Android device. That's very interesting that they chose to go with Android first, well, also because it's owned by Google, but normally Android doesn't get these exclusives. You don't get that with Android. Usually iPhone is with the exclusives, but now Android getting the self-driving exclusives. But it seems like this company, Waymo, is able to do this safely already in Phoenix, and then from there it's just going to expand out. So I'd say self-driving, if you look at Waymo, already here, but let me know, what are your thoughts on this whole self-driving truck and car situation? Speaking of ride hailing too, you may know Lyft. It's a competitor to Uber, and I guess soon to Waymo as well. But they just introduced a new fleet of e-bikes, and this is what it looks like. You can see here on the screen. Looks like any other e-bike that I've been on, except more pink. I do like the Lyft's blue and pink color scheme, and then in the front they've got like a pink RGB light. You know that any future technology worth its weight has got to have the RGBs. I got some behind me on the couch. You got to have your RGBs if you're building a computer, if you're having a streaming setup, or if you're having an e-bike. Apparently, it's a nice ride though. If you haven't been on an e-bike, start looking for them. They're like Easter eggs on the Lyft platform. So maybe in your city where you're watching, they have these Lyft e-bikes. Try them out. Let me know how it goes. Taking it off planet though, into some science news here. I talk about this often on my show. I think it's awesome that we're going to Mars and that we want to see what's over on Mars. But we got another planet to the other side, Venus, a little bit closer to the sun than Earth, but known for its hellish landscape. It's a nightmare there. There's like, I think, volcanoes exploding. It's super hot and it's sulfur ridden or something. I don't know, but it's not a pleasant atmosphere over for the Venetians, as they're known as. And NASA has not launched a mission to Venus since 1989. So it's been a while since we've been there, but NASA just announced they're planning 2 missions over to Venus. And I mentioned this as my show a couple times. I think Venus is super fascinating. It might have at one point had an Earth-like atmosphere because the sun was still growing. I'm not sure. I need to have Neil deGrasse Tyson on the show to explain it. Neil, come on my show. That would be amazing. Venus, though, 2 missions. We got Da Vinci Plus and Veritas. The plan here of these missions is to assess how Venus and Earth came to follow such divergent paths in their evolution. Both are of similar size, and while Venus is a bit closer to the sun, that does not account for the differences in the hellish conditions on the surface of Venus, especially in terms of atmospheric pressure and temperature compared to Earth. Really, though, we all know why Venus is so hellish. It's because that's where the demons live. Demons live on Venus. It's notorious that they like heat and sulfur and craziness, and that's just the explanation, is that there's demons, or at least we'll figure that out soon once Veritas and Da Vinci Plus head on over. I like to imagine that the Venetians have purple skin and really like it hot. I think I met a Venetian one time living in Arizona. So stupid, dude. So stupid. And now getting onto some science news. We did space, we did tech, but let's get into science. The military is now funding this thing called the living pharmacy. It's super fascinating. Pretty much what's going on here is that for generally soldiers or high-end athletes, they want to put this chip inside their arm that I think interacts with an outside source, but it's a bioelectronic system. So what happens is this chip that they put in you produces some peptides that the body needs in order to regulate things like sleep cycles or even gastrointestinal problems. You can see on the screen what it looks like. There is this light sensor on the right-hand side and then the bioreactors on the left-hand side. Inside the bioreactors are cells which are creating these peptides, which then get released into the body. It's also sealed, so nothing can get into the reactor. It can only get out into your body. This is fascinating. Again, it's triggered by light. The cells will make peptides that enter the bloodstream. From there, the peptides help regulate whatever ailment the wearer wants corrected. I believe how they do it is they program it to react differently to the different types of lights or different, maybe like Morse code even, or types of like blinks. Boop, 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 boop. And then you'll get like 6 hours of peptides and boop, boop. And then you'll get like an emergency, like big dose of peptides. I'm really not sure how they program that. They didn't mention it in the article, but just know they're trying to make this living pharmacy that they can put in our bodies that we can control with light. Also here on the screen, you can see it, this diagram of this woman. She has it on her forearm. There's another band around it that's like the external hub that shines the light on it. Probably is connected from Bluetooth to her phone, and she can control it through that. I'm very curious what peptides can actually do. I'm not very informed about peptides as a whole class of medicine or biochemicals in our body. If you know more about it, let us know in the comments about peptides. I'm really excited for it though, when we can start using our own body to generate healing properties just using light. We'll become kind of like plants, these photosynthetic beings that just shine UV lights on ourselves and get pepped up. Shout out, you know what, if you're a Fortnite player, to my Fortnite players, I love getting the pepper and getting pepped up. That's what I'm always saying to my buddy when we're on Fortnite, as I'm hopped up on that pep. So get pepped up, and now we got these peptides coming thanks to DARPA and the military. Keeping in this medical genre, next story, the pandemic. If you didn't know, COVID-19 might have actually killed off some flu strains for good. After, we've been masking up and socially distancing, a lot of flu strains have really seen a decline in their ability to infect people. And thus, we think that some of the flu strains have been killed for good. And really, my only response to this is good. Fuck them. Now, if we could only do that with COVID-19, then we would have a real thing to talk about. Keeping in this tech frame, though, another really interesting thing this week is that engineers created a programmable fiber. Yes, a programmable fiber, meaning something that we can wear. If you're looking on the screen, you can actually see it. It looks like a see-through fabric that is almost like latticed. So there's a lot of different kind of crisscross layers to it. And I'm sure that each one of those is a little part of the electronics fiber. MIT researchers said they have created the first fiber with digital capabilities, able to sense, store, analyze, and infer activity after being sewn into a shirt. Those four things, sensing, storing, analyzing, and inferring, are super hard to do and very important. So sensing means that it is aware that it is on you. Storing information is actually crazy. The fact that they can store information in this, they mention in the article that they can store an MP3 file or an audio file inside of the fabric for 2 days unpowered, which is crazy. Analyze means they've also put some machine learning or data analysis ability algorithms into the fiber as well. So in the article, they also mention a test that they did that analyzed someone's sweat. The fiber also takes a few steps forward into artificial intelligence by including within the fiber memory a neural network of 1,650 connections. After sewing it around the armpit of a shirt, the researchers were able to use the fiber to collect 270 minutes of surface body temperature data from a person wearing the shirt and analyze how these data points corresponded to different physical activities. Trained on this data, the fiber was able to determine within a 96% accuracy what activity the person was doing while they were engaged in it. This is really cool. We've been talking about digital shirts. I've mentioned them on TBDK before, and finally we are getting more and more shirts or more and more fabrics that are electronic, able to store, analyze, and sense information. It's totally cool. It's totally rad. If you want to read about it, I will definitely link to it, but it's out of MIT. And maybe they'll even combine it with Samsung. Recently showed off a stretchable OLED screen. So they have, and you can see it here on the screen, it's a heart rate monitor on someone's wrist that they stretch. So they put the tape on kind of where the hand and the wrist meet, and then they stretch the OLED screen out to actually give a screen to the wearer of this heart monitor. And they can bend it, they can twist it, they can stretch it like a Band-Aid or like a piece of rubber, and the screen maintains its integrity. And I believe it's because the LED screens, the little LED pixels are sitting on like an island of electronics that can spread out, and even if it spreads out, the island of electronics still communicates somehow to this OLED pixel, and then they can create a screen. It's very primitive at the time. They can only display like very big words, as you can see, but it's very cool technology, eventually leading us to probably more foldable phones. Or combined with fabric technology, we could actually make stretchable, bendable, wearable clothes. Like we could change every day. We could just get a base blank shirt, and then you could actually just on your phone change what you want your shirt to look like. Maybe throughout the day, you just take a green and you want to change it to blue, and then you can actually change it. We can also use this for, I don't know, maybe like digital tattoos where you stretch this over you, and you have a digital tattoo that you can change if it's see-through. I don't know. It's pretty awesome. And here are the researchers that are doing it. They're actually pretty young guys, as you can see here. This is Young-Jun Yoon. You can see him presenting the lettuce to a turtle to eat. In this picture, looks like a pretty smart guy. His co-founder here, Young-Jun Lee, demonstrating the very relaxed karate chop that he learned from watching Bruce Lee movies. You can see he's very enthusiastic about this karate chop. And finally, we've got Yang Wang Chung, who is the principal researcher and first co-author. Here he is demonstrating the size that his testicles swelled to when his previous co-founder accidentally did a very relaxed karate chop into his groin. How amazing would it be if you could just have like a piece of plastic that you want the size of your screen, and you just stretch this over it, and that's your TV now, this high def just stretched over a piece of plastic or a piece of cardboard or whatever. You just take it with you anywhere and watch stuff. You plug it into your shirt and watch the movie stored in your shirt. Oh, man, future's crazy, dude. The future is crazy. Oh my God. Another story that's been making the rounds that's relevant to you guys here watching me on YouTube is this YouTube Shorts feature. I haven't taken advantage of it yet. I've been meaning to use it. If you have used it and want to use it, please take advantage of it with my show, dude. Use my show, clip it out and send it around. YouTube said that Shorts users can already sample sounds from other Shorts videos as well as from a library of licensed music. But this update that just came out will greatly expand the audio they have access to. The future will funnel YouTube users into its short features via a new create button in the mobile app. This will appear underneath videos next to the like and dislike buttons. Clicking it will give the users the option to sample the video's audio in Shorts. Shorts viewers will also be able to tap the audio in any video to head back to the original source on YouTube proper. It really sounds like they're making a TikTok clone here, which I'm not totally against, but everybody's doing it now. Facebook also made a TikTok clone, I think, and Snapchat was getting into it as well with, I think, an external investment. I don't think that anybody can really take over TikTok, but I do think it's interesting that YouTube is doing this because there's so many content creators already on YouTube that want to continue to grow their audience and find new ways to exploit the algorithm to grow an audience. I'm one of those people. There's also a guy out there, a YouTube channel named Juma Tech, that gets so many fucking views, like millions of views for his videos, and I don't understand how he does it or why, but I can tell you part of it is collaboration, and if you want to collaborate with me, please reach out. I'm open to it. But back to the Shorts things. Not all creators were happy about this though. After YouTubers noticed the new checkbox in the settings for their video uploads that gives Shorts users access to their audio, many complained that this would let people steal their content. I don't know how that is going to let people steal their content. It sounds more like the remixing feature of TikTok, where people can use the audio and then make new video on top of that audio, share it, and then it links back to the original source. But actually, to me, I don't know why you would be upset, because it's more of a way to get your word out there, your audio out there, your content out there. It's a way to grow your audience. I actually think it's going to be a good thing for the YouTube audience in the long run. You just need to learn how to utilize it and then exploit it. That's really all it comes down to. And finally, the last thing here that I thought was absolutely so cool is that a new type of COVID-19 vaccine could debut soon, and in a way that really honestly surprised me. There's this company named Medicago, and they're using plants to actually make fake viruses for a vaccine to train our buddies. That's what I call my body. This is my buddy. I treat it very well. It's my temple. My buddy is my temple. The plants that they use are related to the tobacco plant and have been modified to contain the genetic instructions to make the viral protein. The plants do something very valuable. They make a lipid shell that surrounds a bunch of viral proteins with the protein sticking out. So they're taking kind of that spike protein that everyone sees on COVID, and they're making a lipid shell. It's just a fat with a fat cell pretty much with the spike proteins sticking out of it. The plant will assemble the protein in a shape and form that looks like the virus, say COVID-19. So if you look at it, it looks like a virus, but it cannot induce any of the disease. And when it's injected as a vaccine, your body will raise a good immune response. And this is actually really cool. So they take the plants, they use a natural process that the plants are already doing. They put the viral proteins inside the water the roots are submerged in. It absorbs this viral protein. It creates a lipid shell and puts these little spike proteins in it, and then it ships it out. They harvest it from the plants. They call it a look-alike virus because it's not actually the virus. It looks like the virus, but inside of this ball of spike proteins and lipid cells is no genetic information, so it can't reproduce at all. It just is like a clone, a fake of the virus. It's totally cool, and it sounds very vegan. This is the first like vegan sounding vaccine that I've heard of. What do you think about it? Have you heard about this? Did you even know that it was possible to harness the power of plants to pull a vast stampede and vaccinate ourselves against the COVID-19 or influenza viruses? It's totally cool. Again, if you want to learn about it, I link it in the show notes below. The company doing it is called Medicago, and they're using tobacco plants to actually produce a vaccine against viruses. And I think they're going to expand it into other things soon. And that's it. That's today's Too Busy Didn't Know. Those were 10 stories that I rapid fire got through. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. If you do like my show, please click subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff. It helps me beat the algorithm. And if you're down for it, clip a short, please. Clip a short from my content. Look at all of my content. You can even go over to Joe Show channel and clip some stuff and reuse the audio, remix me, do whatever you want to do. I encourage you to use me as much as you want. That sounded so wrong. But yes, create shorts off of my video, please. I want to test this out and see if maybe we can blow this channel up. Otherwise, until next week, I hope you learned something good. Come back later in the week on Thursday and Friday for the next episode of Too Busy Didn't Know to get caught up so you can be the most interesting in that person in that Zoom call. Regardless, hope you learned something good because you know it. I love you. See you next week.